And welcome back to the ABCs of ERP and Beyond, the podcast all about how ERP systems can enable business growth and help you optimize your processes. And this week, we will be breaking down everything we saw at Acumatica Summit 2026 in Seattle. New venue, new product announcements, a new chief product officer, and AI absolutely everywhere. So we are going to cut through the noise and pull out the stuff that really matters. What's real, what's hype, and what you should actually be paying attention to. And I could not do this without my fellow co-host, Nirav Shah. Welcome back.
Hey, Peter. Happy to be back and unpack everything with Acumatica Summit here. It was a great venue. It was nice seeing you again. It was very fun. Just being at a new venue and looking at what Acumatica is doing. And you mentioned this a 2-letter word that we're all getting used to right now, AI. But yeah, we're back and super excited. I guess we charged more than anything, right? And when you go to these summits with Acumatica, they just throw so much at us, but in the right way that gives us a deeper look at the roadmap, the direction Acumatica is going in, connecting with a lot of people that we don't see on a day-to-day basis, which is nice. Acumatica throws a ton of money into this summit. It's a little pricey on our side as well to attend, but Acumatica does throw like a really nice conference. I think smaller in scale, right? Smaller in scale, but at the same time than like a NetSuite or Microsoft or something like that. But I think the ecosystem is growing. And when you get both partners and customers together in one place, I think you get a lot of synergy, you get a lot of great conversations, and you get some great ideas that come out of it that Acumatica then puts into the roadmap, which is pretty cool.
Yep. Let's start with that then. So new venue for this year. We said that on our quick emergency podcast that came out a few days ago. This is the first of a series of having these annual conferences now in the Seattle Convention Center. What a building. Yep. Brand spanking new, specifically geared for this kind of conference. Multiple areas, multiple levels as well. We've not really seen that. We didn't see that in the Win where everything was on one level. Now we've got different floors for catering for workshops and partner sessions and customer sessions and the marketplace. So what's your first takes on this being the new home of Acumatica Summit?
I liked it actually. You can bump into people easier here. It was a lot more intimate in this venue. The Win, obviously Vegas is great. Everybody loves Vegas, especially if you're in like the cold, right? North, part of the northern hemisphere. Vegas is nice because you get a chance to get away from that in January. But Seattle wasn't bad. I initially went into it thinking, I don't know, do I want to be in Seattle where it rains all the time and it's kind of doom and gloom? But I was presently a fan actually after kind of attending it. It was, like I said, the venue was so new there, and the from the marketplace, the setups to how you mentioned the individual floors you could go to where they have all the different sessions, and just the fact that you're in a tighter space and you see a lot more people, you run into conversations. I can't tell you so many conversations I ran into just by going up and down the escalator. And
It's
you just see
exactly what I was
people,
about to say. The amount of times that I saw someone going down as I was going up, like, oh yeah, we'll catch up later. We'll catch up. Waving as you both go past each other. Yeah,
exactly. And with the Win, it wasn't like that. Like you were so far on one end or so far on the other end, and unless you had already scheduled a meeting with somebody, you weren't going to meet with them because everything was just too spread out. Here, yeah, you could schedule a meeting, but you could just have a standing 5-minute conversation and move on to your next session between floors. So it was cool. It was a really nice venue. Seattle has a lot to offer with it being central. The venue was right downtown Seattle and walking distance to Pike Marketplace, which is pretty cool, right? Down there, 3 different hotels, which at that I thought maybe was different, but because the venue was smaller, I think it worked that everyone was kind of meet each other. You had 3 different hotels that they put everybody in, or whichever hotel you choose to be in, right? They have the Hyatt, they have the Sheraton. And I think there was one more there, but everybody walked to the conference center in the morning and walked back to the hotel in the evening and stuff like that. So, and when we came in this year, I guess something unique that you probably wouldn't see every year is there was an actual NFC championship game going on in Seattle. So that was pretty cool to have the game going on at the same time when we were doing the summit. We didn't attend the game, but that was cool to witness.
Yep. It's a great venue. You're right. I think just the physical layout encourages networking and people passing each other for different reasons. Like, as you said, the win has its positives, but I really think this is a nice place to be, probably for the next 5 years, I guess, if they're going for that kind of contract again. They had the win for 5 years. I imagine they're going to have this for 5 years. They've already announced that next year, no surprise, it's going to be at the Seattle Convention Center again. So yeah, we'll see. It felt just a little bit more professional, really. The problem I had with the win, now I've only been to one at the win and now one in Seattle. The big thing for me is when you're walking down from your hotel, walking through a casino where you got people that are half cut and the place stinks of cigarettes, and you're going to a convention, isn't a great feeling when you can already start to smell it on your clothes, and you're walking into a big ERP summit. It's not great.
Exactly.
This felt a little bit more professional, probably a little bit more business orientated, but yeah, I think I definitely preferred Seattle.
You hit the nail right on the head. Professional. That's exactly what I thought. It was very professional, very focused on business and focused on things that matter to customers, right? And let's face it, right? Sometimes conferences could sometimes feel like a big adult field trip at the end of the day, and it's great. I think that's healthy. Where you go back, you could kind of let loose a little bit. The Acumatica party was great that they had, and we did a quick 15-minute session on recapping Summit there at the party, their celebration, what they call it, which is pretty cool. But it's also a time to really hunker down and really understand where your investment is going, right, with Acumatica, and diving into the details, diving into the functionality, talking with people that matter, where your voice is heard through the Acumatica, kind of leadership chain and stuff like that. So as much as it's just trying to be a participant, you have to be an active participant in summits to get the most out of it.
Yep, I agree. Let's get into it then, because we've got a ton to cover. But let's start with the big theme, the main theme that we've seen this year. And it's this whole idea. I really like this term that we're now seeing Acumatica, or should we say Sankit, first of all, said this term of seeing Acumatica as a, quote, digital replica of your business. So it's really a digital twin. It's not just being seen as a place to store data. It's really starting to tell the story of how business outcomes are achieved, how we driving our business forwards. And it's this whole idea of seeing this as the digital replica of your business. I really like that. What do you think?
I thought that was brilliant. I think if ERP should be known for something, for some sort of phrase, it's this, right? It's the digital replica of your business. And I thought it was brilliant. It was exactly what an ERP system is designed to do. It's to carry your business processes in an electronic way, in software that's going to help move your business forward. I think it's coming from building the future of business together, which is great. But now to the digital replica of your business is a great, I think, saying for what ERP truly is and how it's going to continue to evolve in the future, because your business is going to evolve and you need an ERP that's going to be the replica of your business as that's evolving as well. So I thought that was a really nice theme this year. It resonated with a lot of customers, from my opinion. I think everyone felt like this is the aha moment for ERP software. Instead of getting 3-4 different systems, right, and just kind of banded it together. Now that's not a digital replica of your system, of your business, right? It's kind of still disjointed. One ERP system like Acumatica integrated all the different modules that, if set up correctly, is a digital replica of your system, of your business, which is great.
Yep. I think this is a great way of seeing it, because now we're kind of moving away from just seeing this as a data store for us to analyze what happened in a reactive way, to now predicting what will happen more as a proactive stance. If you start to see this as the digital replica of what's going on in your business and where, what direction you're headed in. So yeah, I think this is a really nice concept that we're starting to see. And as ever, less than 5 minutes after them starting to say about this digital replica and it's It's, you know, your business within the Acumatica ecosystem. We see the stats. We see this every single year, and these stats continue to grow. I got some here I'm going to throw out. Over $500 billion transacted in the system, 60 million product shipments, 280,000 daily unique users, over 4 billion application page views, and over 10 billion API calls per year.
Yeah, that's insane. And it's growing like no other. Granted, right? I think that shows the hard work Acumatica has done up to this point. Obviously, those numbers are going to continue to blow up and get bigger. But that's where business is headed, right? It's digital, it's APIs, it's integrations. And if you're on systems right now that don't offer that, or it's difficult to do and it holds you back, right? You got to start looking elsewhere. You got to start looking at, what solutions are out there that's going to get me to be faster, be more seamless, right? And Acumatica showed that with those numbers, is that they are following trends that customers are doing, what their technology needs are, and that API number is just, it's a great indicator that they're investing in that. That they realize that this is a advantage for businesses if they're able to integrate, Acumatica to different third-party systems.
I think that really shows off the reach that the platform has. And it's just a signal of how connected the ecosystem is becoming.
Yeah.
This isn't just API calls to, separate packages because Acumatica can't do something. It's actually integrating with everything else you use. So whether that be an e-commerce site, whether that be something like Salesforce, whether that be any kind of AP automation, the fact that you can hook into the Acumatica ecosystem makes everything so much easier when you can really get that connectivity going without having to do the old way of doing it with manual exports and imports or data duplication, double entry into systems anymore.
Yeah. Exactly. Those numbers are blowing. User numbers are going up. Transaction numbers are going up. Right. I think AWS is a great ecosystem to host customer data. So all good stuff there. All good stuff.
Yep. And I think John Case mentioned it again, that Acumatica continues to use Acumatica, which I always think is great. They use it themselves.
They use it themselves. Exactly.
So, if you ever wondered whether they back their own system, well, they run Acumatica on Acumatica.
Yeah. I think it'd be a little weird if they ran NetSuite selling Acumatica.
Can you imagine? Yeah, they use Sage.
Yeah, they need to not upgrade. They need to move ERP systems, I think, sooner than later.
All right, good. Next point. And look, we're just over 10 minutes in and we haven't yet properly mentioned it. Well, you did actually a couple of minutes in, but let's mention it properly. AI. It was the dominant theme. We knew it was going to be less of a future promise that we had last year, but now actually we're starting to see AI features being shipped now in 2026 R1. Mitten showed off a couple of demos. He kind of hinted on day one keynote, and then we saw a little bit more on day two keynote around AI. So what stood out for you in AI? Because we could spend ages talking about it, but what was the key kind of AI enabled feature for you?
Yeah, well, number one, it doesn't have fingers yet. They could do its own typing, which is good, guys. But it's some of the stuff that we saw was really nice. They did this thing on opportunities and how you could start evaluating activities in an opportunity without having to go through every single email, right, that's associated to the opportunity and figure out, well, how is this trending? Is this trending in the right direction? Are we on the verge of losing it, right? Is the customer happy? So they showed off this new ability through the opportunity management module that they could track those activities, and then through just AI assist or summary against that particular activity, it will go ahead and recap of that information that it sees in that opportunity and tells you kind of at a high level what is the next steps, where's it going, and what is the sentiment. Smiley face, is it neutral? Is it dissatisfied? And that's a great example. But I think what I got out of that, Peter, was they were, showing the underlying LLM that actually is written to do this. So you could take this use case and apply it to other modules just using, AI Studio, essentially. So as much as I was excited for that example that Mitten did on big screen, on the big stage, I was more excited in the way you could extend that to other areas of Acumatica using AI Studios. What are your thoughts?
Yep, I agree. I see the AI Studio as is like an orchestration platform for building and configuring AI within your own Acumatica tenant. So I like that it's pretty much no code, or at least low code. You
Okay.
can put your own system prompts in there. You can use whichever LLM you want, whether you're using OpenAI
Mhm.
API, whether you're using Claude and Gemini, or name whatever large language model you want. I like being able to put your own API credentials in there and use it, whether
Yeah.
that's Azure, the world's your oyster. I think we said this before. Like, if you're a Microsoft shop and you're already using things like Power Automate, Power Apps, the Dataverse, and all this kind of stuff, being able to now have Acumatica pull from those locations and have an AI assistant sit there on the screen of your data entry person asking, well, you name it, ask anything you want,
Yeah.
basically.
Anything. Yeah.
I think
Anything. For
that's
sure.
I think that's huge. So the pairing of AI Studio for people to develop a specific AI assistant for them is great. And the fact that AI assistant on it by itself is available out of the box is also awesome. So it depends. You can stay at surface level and just use the ones that are built. Or you can go in the back end in AI Studio and build out a very specific AI solution that you need. And we saw this, right? We saw the winners of the hackathon over the weekend. The winning project was an AI assistant that allowed someone on the road to verbally dictate notes, and it would listen to it, transcribe it into words, and then do action items, then create open tasks for that customer, or go and update the details of the project all in one hit. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's huge.
Yeah.
It's powerful. Very powerful.
It is super powerful. It also did the translation. Remember, they're taking orders in Spanish and then there's
Yeah.
translating it back in English. So that was pretty neat to see. And like you said, the elasticity of this. Like, there's so much you could do. Make it as small as you want, make it as big as you want. Right? I think we said this in the past that a lot of ERPs came out with AI. Microsoft Copilot, and NetSuite has it, right? But they just came out with something just to show that they have something without putting much thought into the actual practical uses of it. Whereas Acumatica took their time and said, if we're going to bring something out, we want to make sure it's usable. We know all the use cases around how customers are going to use it. And that's what we're seeing, with some of these AI demos that we saw here at Summit. So which is really cool because that's all day-to-day stuff that you're going to use, right?
Yeah, I agree. It's so easy to see flashy AI demos, but really the ones that stick are the ones where it's showing a practical use case. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing, as you said, in the opportunities, being able to do sentiment analysis on, a bunch of interactions with a customer, especially if you're bringing in emails, if you are hooked into
Yep.
maybe your Outlook integration, being able to bring that into the system and just run sentiment analysis on it. That is a practical use case that I can see a lot of people using.
Oh yeah.
The other big one for me was now seeing this AI assistant on the customer portal side for that self-service stuff. So that's really cool, having the ability for a customer to go to their portal, which if you've already using the customer portal, they're already going
Yep.
to place orders. But
Yep.
now having an assistant there to say, send me a copy of this invoice, or
Yeah.
where's my order? When's my order shipping? What have I got on back order? These kind of things that often clog the inbox of the customer service team when they've got lots of little queries coming through all the time. AI, that's where AI can be leveraged for those teams to shift all of that admin work and automate it, and then free up these kind of positions to do the real thinking and apply intelligence, rather than getting bogged down in that kind
Yeah.
of day-to-day admin.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there were so many smaller examples that we saw. Do we have enough stock to fulfill this order? Right. Just ask that to AI Assist. Copy a sales order. Right. Copy the previous order that was completed. Right. Do that to
Yep.
AI Assist. Right. A lot of day-to-day tasks that require just manual data hunting.
Mm-hmm.
kind of just could be all done through
Yep.
AI assist, which is really nice.
Yep. The last thing I want to say on AI that I haven't seen a lot of people blog about yet, which was the MCP architecture, the model context protocol. MCP is the
Yep.
new RAG, right? So when AI came
Yeah.
out, we're all about RAG and triangular trajectories and how numbers talk to each other. I don't know.
Yeah.
But now it's all about MCP. So MCP, if you've never heard of MCP, think of it as a standard way for AI to talk to external tools and data sources. It's like giving AI like a universal adapter to plug into different systems, right? So think of the implications of that. We actually saw a demo of MCP being leveraged, which was the Claude integration. We saw it for field services. This is where the AI can access data within Acumatica. So current inventory, scheduling of service requests, customer history, customer location, and therefore weather from external sources. So we saw a demo where we were asked, here's a list of services I need to do, go and check. And it realized that there was a clash of schedule, two booked at the same time. And also one said, there's significant risk of not being able to do this service request because the weather in that particular location is really, really bad. I think it was one
That was
somewhere
cool.
on the East Coast with that's been hit with the snowstorm. So that's the power of MCP, right? That goes another step further than normal AI can do, because AI normally in its own kind of box within Acumatica would only go, oh, there's a scheduling clash. That's it.
Yeah.
But the fact now it can use this model context protocol to go out and find stuff like, now I know the location, what's the weather like? Now it becomes a very different suggestion of actually, you cannot actually do this because of an external factor. That just takes it one step further. MCP architecture being leveraged in an ERP. I have not seen that anywhere else.
Yeah, no, that's a huge positive and advantage when you're able to get that strong backbone essentially for your AI initiative. So that was really cool. Just seeing that extension from Acumatica and then I think they show us Claude, right? As you mentioned, they showed Claude, and within Claude, you're asking questions and it's going back to the MCP server and finding the data from Acumatica, which is really cool. Those are the type of things that just it's going to take businesses to the next level, and right, like it's stuff like that if you find an ERP system that's investing in ways your users are interacting with the system, right, and is able to build technology around that, I mean, that's just huge.
Yep.
Huge,
Yep.
in my opinion.
And whilst I get excited about this, I want to bring it right back down to earth and say the boring bit, which is that AI, it does hallucinate, and it will confidently hallucinate if you feed it bad data. So it is only as good as the data feeding it. So if you are migrating from a legacy system with messy data, AI will give you messy answers. So a shout out to the ABCs of ERP and beyond. Go and listen to our back catalog around data migration. Then you can leverage all the exciting AI stuff.
100%. 100%. Yes.
All right, cool. Moving nicely on to the data stuff. Big announcement, product announcement. We saw something called Insight Excel. This is Acumatica's answer to Velixo. Live Excel exports. Super simple. Goes one further than hitting that little Excel icon and getting an export of your data. This actually brings a live connection from Acumatica into Excel, formatted whatever way you like. There's a bunch of functions that we saw, equals chart of accounts or equals ending balance, I think they showed.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
But also you can hit, so the same icon, the Excel icon, if you click on that, instead of it just saying export to Excel, there's now export to Excel live link, I think it said. And that brings the same structure and layout on that report and replicates that into Excel. Fine. All of those fields are live connections back to ERP. So I think that's awesome. We know, as much as it pains me to say it, everyone lives in Excel. Whether Excel is the right tool for the job or not, people just do it in Excel. I think this is huge because Excel is not going anywhere. We know that a lot of Excel has bad data where people have overtyped shit.
Yeah.
At least this, you've got a live connection, lock all those cells, and no one can kind of
Exactly.
screw it. Does this kill Velixo? I don't think so. I'm surprised it came out kind of. I think there was a bit of a weird feeling in the room when they announced that. I wasn't any different to anyone else, probably thinking, what does this mean for Velixo? I think Velixo is light years ahead of Insight Excel. They got a lot of catch up to do. They are starting to. They didn't show it, so I doubt it's in there. Any kind of write back functionality that a lot of people, end up buying Velixo for, being able to pull in, last year's revenue and push a forecast back into the system.
Yeah. Yeah.
That kind of ability that Velixo has with that
Yeah.
write back functionality is
Sure.
great for external sales teams that need to provide their annual revenue expectations.
Right.
They could just do it in a formatted Velixo report, and it just pushes back into Acumatica. So I don't think it kills the Velixo market at all, especially for power users, because Velixo is so much more comprehensive. But it's interesting that Acumatica are doing their own version.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, like you said, I think it's just the first pass. I think it's nowhere. I don't think it's anywhere near Elixo. This is your world, Peter. So you have a lot more to say about it than I do on the data side. But just seeing that, I think you could tell that, probably a ton of users have kind of expressed this feedback, and they took that feedback and put it into the system. Now, how much are they going to expand on that over the course of, the upcoming years? We don't know. Right? They just may make it very basic. And then if you need anything more of that, like the write back, you have to go through Velixo. So nice to see. To me, I thought that was, a nice to have for a lot of customers. But again, that just shows you there's another feather in their cap at the end of the day. And which I'm sure from a programming standpoint took it quite, programming side of it to get this functionality together and roll it out. I don't remember. Did they see that was coming out in 26R1?
Can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember if they said they could spawn 26R.
I like it. I like its native. I like it if it was free. I wouldn't get it if it was paid.
Right.
I think, especially if you're a company that already has experience with Power Query and GI and building GIs. I think if you just want live data, I wouldn't buy this. Like if they want to give it to me for free, I'll probably switch over and use Insight Excel. Otherwise, I'm going to sit there with my GIs I probably have and just bring them into Excel through Power Query Connector and just hit the normal refresh button in Excel.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Same thing.
It's a little bit cleaner. It does mean typically you'd bring the GI into a hidden raw data worksheet through Power Query and then put a pivot table on top of that or some kind of fixed report page. This is a little bit more streamlined, probably not enough to warrant paying for it if they want to charge me a yearly price for Insert Excel, which I imagine they will because they've named it something different. They didn't come out and go, we've improved the export to Excel function. They came out and said, here's a new product called Insight Excel. I imagine this is going to come with a charge. I ain't going to buy it. I'll stick to Power Query.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I think so. Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, moving on. Quick fire round. We've got time for this. I told Nirav 5 minutes before hitting the record button. I got a bunch of other things I listed down. I want to see your initial reaction to what these were.
I should have like a little panel. Super excited, not excited. Super excited, not excited.
Okay. All right, first one. I'm going to give you this one. Let's start with an easy one because you already mentioned it during 2025 R2, I think, that you loved this one. Order Orchestration Assistant.
I love it. I love that one. I like it a lot because it takes the guesswork out of your CSRs. You could create your own mapping around it, right? And create priorities of warehouses around that. And it just allows you to better manage your order lines really quickly just by hitting order orchestration, right? Now, you got to trust it. You got to be able to give up control and let the system do its job and then keep fine tuning it. But once you get it right, I think it's a great tool. It's a big time saver at the end of the day.
Yeah. Having Acumatica sort out fulfillment paths based on predefined rules, based on current inventory is another practical, not flashy. Well, it is flashy when you see it, but it's a practical feature that I can see benefiting lots of people.
Yeah. And I could see them adding AI Assist to it, right? They have the framework. I can see them doing that. AI Assist just basically looks at that order orchestration and rules and just starts pumping out suggestions right there while entering the sales order.
Yep. Through MCP. Imagine that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine going, normally I'd fulfill from this warehouse because it's closer to the
Exactly.
customer, but there's bad weather in that area. Actually, we should use this other warehouse.
Ding, 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 ding. Hackathon next year, Peter.
I say yes to too many exciting things. There's not enough hours in the day to do this as well. But maybe.
Maybe, yeah. We'll report live from the hackathon next year.
And it'll just be me crying over a keyboard.
Oh my gosh.
Next one.
Awesome.
Amazon Marketplace dashboards.
That one for me is nice to have.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it, but Amazon just has a lot more information. When you're still on Amazon, there's just a ton more information on their dashboards that customers generally use. Acumatica is just maybe used more for the back end. Like dashboard for back end operations is great. Amazon front end for the sales team and stuff like that, they're all in Amazon. I'm checking their numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe for finance and warehousing and stuff like that, I think it's nice and it gets day-to-day across.
Okay, fine. Next one. AI cross-selling assistant.
I like that a lot, actually. That kind of goes with what we were just talking about on order orchestration, right? And it could start setting up rules and telling you what it could substitute, what it can't substitute, when it could substitute it, how much quantity to substitute. And I think that's really nice because it keeps your customer actively engaged. It keeps the sales team engaged, right? And it's just a whole separate process. It doesn't do it on the sales order entry. It does it on cross-selling. I think there's a processing screen for that, right? If I'm not mistaken, that does and provides those suggestions. So it's cool. I like it. It gets more customers thinking about how they could cross-sell versus not.
All right, next one. Shop floor kiosk.
I liked it. It was that was really cool. I thought graphically it just looked so appealing. I wanted to just go and start, scanning in and scanning out just by looking at it on the big screen. But that was really nice. Seemed very intuitive, very easy, which is great to see because you don't want to make shop floor difficult to log into and stuff. It shows you how many pieces you completed out of how many pieces that are necessary to be completed. So that was super, super nice. And I think that's just going to continue to evolve and get better. But I thought that was good.
Yeah, I like this one. Typically, the shop floor is where ERP adoption dies.
Yep. Or the third parties involved, right? No one's trying to build it out of the box. Like Acumatica is building it out of the box natively that they support.
Yep. And I think even out of the box, or a third party solution, if operatives have to log into a full screen behind a computer to report progress, they won't. They simply won't.
Right.
You have to crack them over the head to do it. Having a dedicated UI removes that barrier for me.
Yeah.
And this actually links back to an earlier episode we did, which we did all around planning and scheduling. And we said, if this shop floor data isn't captured in real time, I say real time in quotes, like it doesn't have to be to the second, but at least frequent enough to be useful. If you're not capturing it at that rate that you need, then you're basically planning with old data.
Exactly.
Which is pretty useless. Okay, next one. Business events with Teams integration. Do you remember
I liked it. Yeah, I like that. I like this one. Teams is a nice collaboration tool, right? A lot of customers are using it. They're now accepting it. Remote working post-COVID era. Being able to send notifications to Teams and stuff like that. I think that's really, really useful. I couldn't tell you how many prospects or customers I talked to that they kind of ask for this in one way or another, whether it's email form or direct Teams, right? Or something like that. This one was, I thought nice. It's just showing their reach and, seeing where customers are communicating with the data and giving them another way to integrate that.
Yep. All right. Last one I got for you is the new document management with AI tagging.
I was confused at that right now. I don't know. I think it's nice because there's AI to it, but what value does that bring? Does it suck the data in? There's some security concerns for me there of putting in customer data, your own proprietary information, that type of thing. I was really not sure what direction we were going into that. By repository organization was nice. AI part of it, not 100% sure like how that's going to play out. I think maybe if you look at it from an industry perspective, construction is probably more likely to use that than like maybe manufacturing or professional
Mhm.
services or something like that. But even then, I have some hesitation on using it just because of the whole fact that can I get exposed at the end of the day? And really, are you prompting it based on data, on documents
Mhm.
you're putting in? What type of prompts can you actually do with that information that does go into the repository? So that one I was kind of a little bit like, I think it's a little bit too early to tell if that's going to be like a super hit.
Yep. The other one I had written down for you, which I won't throw out, was anomaly detection. Simply because
Yeah.
it's not a new feature,
Yeah.
but we are
Yeah.
seeing more and more examples of where to leverage anomaly detection. I still don't really like it. I don't like it because anomaly detection is a little bit stiff and deterministic, that you have to set the barriers. Whereas,
Yeah.
if a business changes over time, so your parameters of what an anomaly is will change
Yeah.
over time as well.
Right.
So I don't think fixed logic works. Then my thought goes, okay, let's just use AI then to change parameters of anomaly detection and just leverage
Right.
that directly
Right.
rather than the current anomaly detection that we've had for a few years now.
Right.
But I go back to the same issues that you have. The other side of it, actually, there's two more sides to it. The other side I have an issue with is, does this now make people lazy and go, the system,
Yeah.
don't
The
worry.
system will just
I,
do it.
I don't
Yeah.
have to be accurate anymore in my data entry, or I don't need to go and double check figures anymore because the system will find out the anomalies for me and tell me. Like, does this now mean that people will become lazier or indifferent to whether they put in bad data or good data? I don't know. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah. Knowing users, I think there'd be too much reliance on it to be accurate, and less reliance because it's only as accurate as the information being put in, right?
But
And
if you
if
if
you're
you always
constantly wrong,
if you've got in the back of your mind there's a safety net, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter now whether I'm putting in accurate information because there's a safety net that will call me out and I'll deal with it
yeah,
later on.
yeah, but it's a safety net, but you got to fix that problem. It can't be a safety net for so long. Otherwise, you're spending more time fixing it than you are correcting the
Unless you
root
get
cause if you use it. Yeah.
unless it can suggest who to fire.
We'll have a separate HR session on that in our next episode of the ABCs of ERP.
Maybe there needs to be an HR assistant. This person needs to be fired because they keep putting in bad data.
You know what you could do?
Dear.
Add a business event to it and then send a notification to them saying that they're fired for putting in the same bad data the last 5 times there's a purchase receipt.
And you can
Turn
leverage
in
the
your
cross
laptop,
selling as
sir.
well.
Yeah. Leverage cross-selling. Yeah. And if you want to send that laptop back, you can use orchestration to figure out the nearest
No,
warehouse.
I'm talking about firing. If you want to fire John, how about firing Ben as well?
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
That's
and
hilarious.
the third issue I've got overall with AI, well, not issue, it makes you a little bit nervous, is how are they going to treat this with ERP transaction?
Yes. That's something that it was not discussed at all. Not discussed at all. Yeah. That was knowing how Acumatica does their licensing model, right? Very heavy transaction based. Two components of that, commercial and ERP. They're not going to consider this commercial transactions because we only have 8, but we all know the devil is in the ERP transactions.
Yeah,
And I could see that number ballooning up like crazy
yeah.
because you're making all these constant hits to the database, grabbing data. Because it's resources at the end of the day, regardless if you're
hmm
saving something or not. But it's resources. So that's the part that scares me a little bit. It could really get out of control.
After my initial excitement with seeing it on the customer portal side, the AI assistant, within a couple of minutes, I started to already think, crap, now I'm completely at the mercy of my customers, just absolutely slamming my ERP transaction count. And I'm going to get a nice email from Acumatica after a couple of months going, you
Yep,
need to up your
exactly.
license. Just because your
Exactly.
customer's there going, what's the weather like today? What's the
Yeah.
capital of Egypt? Like, stop using my ERP transaction count for stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you're completely at the mercy. If you open this up to the customers being able to use it, you can train your own team and go, guys, don't use it for this. Use it for genuine ERP stuff. If you throw that out on the customer portal, you're at the mercy of customers ballooning
Yep.
your transactions. Anyway, let's move on. So the next section of the episode is more of the strategic business side of things we've seen with the acquisitions and partnerships. So What got announced?
Yeah, let's quickly kind of run through that. You got they've acquired Core Chain and Avid Exchange. Avid Exchange more, I think, multi-currency, maybe some I think payment processing. I'm not sure what Core Chain does exactly, but they've acquired them, which is a nice kind of addition if there are those customers that need those solutions out there. Doing acquisition is always a nice thing because now Acumatica is controlling is native now to their technology stack and module stack, which is
Hmm.
pretty nice.
Yep. Do you think this is the influence of Vista?
Yeah, could be, could be. Yep. Expanding. But I think, sometimes you got to think about it. Um, they're adding it, but how much more work are they going to do to it? Like, does it just get absorbed and dies? Or does it actually gets absorbed and actually gets enhanced and does more than
Hmm.
what it's actually capable of doing right now? So, yet to be determined.
Yep. All right. What else was announced? Ali Jani retiring and passing the baton to John Pollock.
Yeah, that was actually pretty neat to see the way they did that. I usually don't see those type of like kind of transitions, handover, from one leader to another leader in the company. And I thought Acumatica did it nicely where they, uh, you know, Ali Jani came on as he normally does with a ton of enthusiasm on the stage, getting everybody hyped up, talked about, Acumatica, its future, talked about AI. And then also, very gracefully, brought on, uh, the new chief product officer and essentially introduced him to the new world, John Pollock, and said, he is taking over. And then he started talking about his vision, already kind of
Hmm.
how he's kind of hitting the ground running, working with the Acumatica programming teams and development teams to get a lot of great solutions and software out the door. So that was pretty cool.
Yep. Yep. Agree. The other news items we got announced this year: Customer of the Year this
Yep.
time, Storm Smart.
They're pretty a cool business because they have all these
Mm.
different plans. Did they say they're like up to, was it 400 users? Did I hear that right? 200
Gosh.
users? I knew they're in the hundreds, but they were not using manufacturing, and now they turned on manufacturing, and they're a great kind of example of a company that started really small and just exploded with Acumatica. So that was cool to see. So if you don't know them, they make kind of shelter and like different type of um, what they call devices in front of your windows and garages and your
Hmm.
homes to protect, like, areas like in Florida, for example, and along the Gulf to provide hurricane protection to those homes. So that was pretty cool to see them, expanding and growing with that.
Yep. And Impact Customer of the Year.
Yeah, PSI Family Services. That
Yeah.
was cool.
I really liked seeing their story and how they're leveraging Acumatica. It really sounded like Acumatica had freed them up to be able to better run their company.
Yeah,
They weren't
yeah,
so bogged down, and it allows them to reach out further. I like what their cause is and how they can help individuals and families at a time of need through mental illness or developmental disabilities, and seeing them be able to leverage Acumatica for that. It's easy to just continue to talk about manufacturing and distribution and construction, but something like this, it's nice to see that they also can leverage an ERP.
it was really nice to see, and you could tell again how you could extend Acumatica because they extended out to their billing functionality
Yeah.
that they needed, which is really important. Really cool to see that. I really love how Acumatica in Summit you could see like the customer of the year and the impact customer of the year, and what they did with the system and how it's benefited them because other customers get the benefit of seeing that and also not always say striving towards it, but see how connected the community is here in
Mhm.
Summit.
Yep. All right. Now, we know that Acumatica Summit is split into two sides, much like this podcast. We have customer side, we have partner side. So we have customer sessions and we have partner sessions. So standout items in the customer sessions, we both attended the warehouse management session.
We did. We
We've
did.
labeled it the warehouse management improvement session because it can't get much worse. No, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. I take that back. If anyone from Acumatica listens to this, and I know that now I've found out there are people that listen to this,
Yes,
we
yes,
may have
yes,
to
yes.
cut that section out. Um, they do a great warehouse management system,
Yes, 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 yes,
but
yes.
they are improving it. So I quite liked this being able to change location, do partial picks, back out of what you'd already picked and go and kind of do re-pick from a different location, especially if you've got lot and serial number tracking.
Yeah.
Essentially, this was, well, you explain what we saw. What do we mean by location changes?
Yeah. Look, so you're in the middle of a pick. You don't want to pick from that specific location. You want to go and change the location and pick to an alternate location. You could do that very easily right through the handheld device now. Phone, essentially, where they have, the app loaded and changed. It was difficult to do in the current version of warehouse
Yeah.
management. Now they're making it easier for you to do that.
Yep. Yep. And someone asked that if in their business, if they cannot fully pick the full amount from the same lot number, they can't pick any from that lot number. Essentially, they can't send out, say, a pallet of goods with mixed lot numbers. It all has to be from the same single lot number. Does this new improvement to the warehouse management system cater for that? The answer was yes. You can back out stuff that you've already picked and go and pick
Yep.
from a location. And it will show you a list of locations where you can fulfill this line to pick from, which is quite nice. The mobile side, it was a bit disappointing to not see any love to that. It's still, in my eyes, mobile side is still clunky. The fact it auto picks one, then I set quantity, it just looks stupid to me.
Yeah.
If
I know.
I'm picking 10, I go through and I scan the location in the item and it says 1 times 1 picked, product A times 1 picked. Then I hit set quantity and I enter 10. The confirmation I get is product A times 9 picked.
So
That's stupid. Like, I can understand why, because I've already picked one. Now I'm picking a further 9. I'm not. Just tell me to pick 10.
Yep. Yep. I think the solution still needs some more TLC, but they are hearing what customers are doing. But I think Acumatica also openly admits there's better ISVs out there that do warehouse management better than Acumatica does. They openly admit this. So them just spending some time and just putting in some things that, what they call basic, that every warehouse management tool should have, is I think what they're striving for right now. Like, for example, projects is not integrated, right? You can't do projects picking through the warehouse management solution.
But then I would say, why are you wasting your time on being able to do location changes when there's third-party solutions that already do that? If
Yeah,
your
right.
long-term goal is we're just going to buy out an ISV solution once it's
Right.
good enough in our eyes, spend time then doing projects in the
Exactly.
mobile.
That's true.
Because
And I
there's
completely
ISVs
agree
are
with
already
you.
allowed to do this. Or just tell us. Just
Yeah.
do something. Just buy
Yeah.
out an ISV if you're waiting to do that. Or work on getting modules in Acumatica cleaned up and ready for mobile application.
Great.
Don't waste time doing your own clunky warehouse management improvements, which has already been solved by an ISV that you could just buy
Yeah.
straight away tomorrow. Again, if Acumatica is listening to this, actually, no, I'm not going to cut that out. Take heed of that and do something about it. I hope you are listening to this.
I hope you are listening to it. Take note. We need it.
Yeah.
We need it in our business.
Other customer sessions I went to are quite nice. There was one called 30 CRM tips. No, what was it? 60 CRM tips in 30 seconds. I think it was
30
called.
minutes.
Pretty good. It was a quick fire thing between two Acumatica people. I can't remember your names, but we'll find it. Really
Yeah.
good. They had a little kind of 30-second or 90-second countdown timer, whatever it was. And they were doing quick fire tips. I picked up a few that I quite liked the look of. Other ones I quite liked, best practices for building GIs.
Yep. That was good.
There were ones around anomaly detections and leveraging anomaly detection with business events. One generally about business events, which I quite like. I like that as a phase 2 item. If you're going through an ERP migration, don't turn on a bunch of automations and business events on day one. People need to learn how to use the system, then start slowly introducing automation.
Correct. Yep. Yep.
And on the other side, which I can't go to, I'm not allowed, partner sessions.
Yeah. So, we did a few partner sessions there, and they're just kind of helping partners get better tools and delivering better implementations, right? Helping train partner resources and consultants, understanding real world uses of Acumatica, just getting more people out there in the ecosystem to support Acumatica, which is fantastic. I think, when an ecosystem thrives is when, you have a lot of trainers out there that understand the tool really well. So they're now putting together partner only conference. First year they're going to do it. Let's see if they do it another year, but they're calling it Ascent, Acumatica Ascent, which is going to be a 2.5-day partner only conference just to learn. None of the bells and whistles of like a keynote, all that type of stuff. It's literally probably just, a side corner of a hotel. It's going to be in Denver, August 17th, with like 6 or 7 breakout rooms. And you basically go and pound out some learning, role play, learning, get your badges, right? All that type of thing. Learning with Acumatica directly. So that's going to be interesting. We're gonna go there as a partner and experience that. And so that'll be good. They're also giving like seller report cards on how we're doing, so we could be better as organizations selling Acumatica. And one thing I'm really interested to learn more about is self-customer onboarding. So when we sell new projects or new deals to customers, there's ability now where Acumatica provides self-education or just onboarding, just from standpoint of going through the UI, understanding fields, very, very, very basic. Still doesn't replace like going through an ERP implementation, but just like the first few like topics of understanding reports, understanding, like I said, architecture, UI, that type of stuff, the modern UI. They're coming out with this like self-guided education tool for customers, which is pretty cool. So I want to get my hands on that and see how that's going to work for customers, so we could give that to them straight away. So they're also kind of looking at the customer side of it. How do we improve our partners? How do we get more partners in the door, onboard them faster, so we could sell more of Acumatica? Because ultimately they want to sell more Acumatica at the end of the day, right? More software they sell, the higher return the new partners are going to get, Vista partners. So they need ROI on their $2 billion purchase. So, but yeah, that was kind of it. And I think, if we get, and by the way, Acumatica Ascent, you have to fill out an application as a partner to get approved to go. You can't just go. So, which I thought was a little weird, if you want people to learn Acumatica, just send partners there and have them learn it. But we'll see. They're just still kind of working it out. It's the first time we're doing it. And if we do get a chance to go, we will report on that and share how that smaller conference goes with partners.
Very good. Do you think customers will actually use the onboarding tools? Who reads an instruction manual? You can make it self-guided and
exactly.
click the screens and interactive. Like,
No.
really? Is anyone going apart from the most enthusiastic people, are you actually going to find these busy people that are too busy to do this, let alone be involved in the ERP migration?
No,
Are they also going to do this?
I agree. I think they'll start, but then they'll stop. They won't finish. I think there's going to be some excitement on starting. But then afterwards, no. Okay, let's schedule a meeting. Let's do an official training and take them through it. And I think that it's going to be more like that. But I think they have the right idea. Do cookie-cutter implementations, maybe. I don't know.
I have got a small list of things that we should also be excited about going into 2026, because they always do this. They show a slide of things that they've come out with over the last 12 months, and then they show a kind of a roadmap to give you a taste of what's coming out in 2026. Things, I'm just going to rattle these off: warehouse bin replenishment, advanced kitting improvements, advanced planning and scheduling module improvements. Massive deal for manufacturers out there. Improvements to product configurator, AI for e-commerce and planning, and improvements to it's only just been announced, but the shop floor kiosk. Improvements to the customer portal, now with the modern UI. Big complaint of the customer portal used to be, it looks like an ERP screen. My customer doesn't need that. They need an e-commerce shop site feel. Improvements to that is obviously moving that over to the modern UI, and also a vendor portal, which I think is really exciting to see, that your vendors can go in there and mark things as shipped or update expected receipt dates. Huge lift of burden from supply chain teams when now your business can leverage a vendor portal where the vendor manages their responsibilities.
Yeah, that's all good stuff. Lots of things. Yeah.
Again, just like last year, I kind of glazed over and fell asleep when the two guys came out from construction. I apologize to them. Just, I don't know. They said some things, and there's some cool things about project costing and stuff. I don't know. Like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, true. But I think repository was a big one for construction. So I think that can be used across multiple editions. So that was pretty cool. Summary of project costs, And then on the manufacturing side, we saw um, that sales analysis dashboard that you could
Yeah.
drill into your margins and look at which
Yeah.
production orders were causing margin issues at the end of the day, and you could take corrective action. I thought that was pretty nice,
Yeah. Yeah.
right from the dashboard.
It's one of those things where the more stuff you buy and the more modules you have, the more information and insight, and the quicker you can pivot when things start to slip. Imagine coupling that whole, I can drill in very quickly to profit on a production order. Couple that with shop floor kiosk, where you're getting people entering in, scrap and Acumatica's handling all of the variances. I quite like it. Again, I
Yep.
know it's easy to see a demo environment where you always know that they do it so things don't go wrong. I get that.
Right.
But they also
Right.
do it to have a perfect scenario, great data, exactly. When you see the Acumatica URL and it's like summit day 2.acumatica.com. Like, okay, so this
Yeah.
is exactly engineered to get us
Yeah.
excited. Does that translate just as well into the real world? Probably. I mean, we didn't see anything crazy, but it does go to show you need to capture all the data you need, well, accurate, on time, and then you can benefit from this. We've said this before on lots of things, haven't we? That one of the key things with the modern ERP is data management, and I would also say date management.
Yep. Yep.
Like everything ties back to delivering product on time to the customer, and it all goes
Yep.
back
It's
to
huge.
dates. You entering in accurate, realistic dates that affects production lead times, that affects raw material planning. Like you don't get to leverage all of the benefits of a modern ERP without entering good, complete, accurate data.
Yep. That's really the premise, right? To deliver customer products on time. Um, so you keep happy customers and you grow your business at the end of the day. And all the chain events that happen, the chain reaction that happens, when you look at that due date for the customer and everything to start, backward scheduling and all that type of stuff. So super critical.
Yep. Very good. And a great summit. And yeah, it was great to meet up with you face to face again, and also shoot that emergency podcast
Yeah.
where we could do a quick face to face podcast
Yeah.
episode.
That's cool.
So I always enjoy our meetups. So thank you. Where can people reach you if they want to find out a little bit more about Acumatica?
Yeah. LinkedIn. I think it's great. LinkedIn Nirav.h.shah or right there on our LinkedIn page, the ABCs of ERP and beyond. Shoot us a message there and we'll love to talk to anyone about any questions they have on Acumatica, functionality, features, Summit, right? We do this purely out of the joy we get of talking about integrated business systems and how much it can help excel your business forward, help users, help your customers, help vendors. This is an ever-changing, kind of technology at the end of the day. So our goal is to keep you updated with everything that's happening, and especially focusing on Acumatica and other, project management and other solutions at the end of the day as we continue to, bring value in that space. These are projects that, we've said over and over again that are heart transplants that really talk to the core of the business at the end of the day. If you do this right, this could help grow your business for the next 20, 30 years and beyond. So that's our goal. At the end of the day, we're very open to feedback, very open to, topics that you guys suggest that we should talk about and research those. More to come, more excitement, a lot more digging deeper into functionality, a lot more demos. You can find us there.
Very good. Thank you, Nirav. Enjoy the next couple of weeks, and I will catch you on the next episode.
You got it.